Kathy. Great, say your prayer. Gigi mana do, she migwich, in the manazi when in ane. Gonna win the mission, jeune mission, we. G. We do kadada young, G, do kadada young, we. G. Chigi young. She migwich is in Dali young,
Oh, very good, very good.
and the creator to help us to do good for our kids. Still about a minute away, so we better hold on 30 seconds. Make good use of our time there. Thank you. Migwich, Dr. Gnu.
Second commercial will debut on November 7th. So keep an eye out. Alexis Desjardins in there with Elizabeth Lee.
Okay. Okay, it's 1 o'clock.
Now we're recording it.
Yep. Should be. Yep. Started.
Okay, we'll call this meeting to order, 1 p.m. And what would you do the roll, please?
Mike Barrett, Chair.
Here.
Tina Stately, Vice Chair. Here. Nicole Desjardins, Clerk. Almandea. Chris Jordan, Treasurer.
Here.
Robert Palmerton, Director.
Here.
Douglas Jack Desjardins, Director.
Here.
Thomas Barrett, Director.
Here.
Tim Lutz, Superintendent.
Monday afternoon.
Hey, summary overview of agenda, Superintendent.
Migwich Chair Barrett. After our allotted time for public comments and delegations, I will provide a brief review of my report and summary, after which we will have a report from Principal Shelley Frederickson at the high school and AD Nolan Desjardins on student eligibility for sports and activities, just to review what our policies and practices are. After that, Principal Frederickson, I've asked her to provide a brief report on students and students who are on track for graduation. We will then review the finance report from Business Manager Willie Larson, as well as an enrollment report. After that, we'll move into the consent agenda, including approving the minutes from September 18th general or regular board meeting. The board then has 3 resignations to approve, followed by the sub list to consider. We will have 1 custodial hire and 3 paraprofessional hires to approve, followed by a couple of coaching positions. And with that, I will have a request that we postpone that because we need to do a second round of the interviews. We will then have a parental leave request, followed by approving the opening of a additional 1.0 FTE paraprofessional position for the district, followed by a request to approve opening 1 special ed teacher position for the district. We will close out the consent agenda with the approval of the American Indian Education application, aid application. The board will then move into the action items on the agenda. There are only 2 today, including approving a list of bills and wires in the amount of $2,700,468.62. We will then close out the action agenda by adopting policy 507.5, school resource officers. Thank you.
No, this here too, this, when is this gonna motion for, to go into negotiations?
Oh, that's something that you'll have to introduce to add to the agenda.
Okay, well-
Suppose on action item.
Okay, can we add this in? Does everybody saw this? Everybody have it or?
Going, what is it?
No, it's to enter into negotiations. Superintendent Lutz, for the 2025 through 27 year.
Okay.
Make copies?
You want a copy?
Mhm.
Okay, yeah. So we'll add that.
That would,
Action.
And
that would be item C then, action item 9C.
9C.
Then while we got a little break, I'll just speak on number 3 on your, report. With the, incident with the house back in DOT.
Oh, yeah.
Thought it was really cool the way, our staff handled that.
Yeah.
All those drills and stuff that we just went right into it once it was announced and it went really smooth. There was no, I don't think the kids, truly got to know. I mean, sometimes we can all get rattled. There was a few, but for the most part, everybody just clicked into training and everybody was, I just thought it was handled really well, so. And I know, I heard on the radio too, a couple of the council members, thought it was cool how quickly we put a message out to everybody, so I think that was, pretty cool and it shows that, our staff is capable and as well as the training there and the policies that we have in place, for situations like that too. I mean, who would have thought, such a thing would happen, but when it did, we did pretty good.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that. I was happy and very pleased with how all the administrators handled it. And like you say, that's exactly why we do these drills. It could be a human-caused event or a weather-caused or technology. This was kind of like technology or something technical, an explosion, but we have to know how to react to all of those scenarios and get communication out there quickly and stay calm and stay safe. Thank you.
Are we amending item 7J?
Yes, yep, thank you for bringing that up. So as we look at the agenda, 7J will be placed on our next meeting. We have to have, I can mention this now too, we have to have a special board meeting anyway to canvass the election results for the school board election. So that will be sometime in the early part of the second week of November. By that time, we'll have wrapped up with the second round of interviews and we'll have a recommendation for the board to approve also. So eliminating 7J,
being
yep,
removed.
sorry.
Item J is being removed.
Yep, 7J is being removed for now.
As
And
well as the boys baseball junior high.
That's why I said, are we amending it? Just
Oh.
taking out the girls coach?
oh, just amending it. Yep, I take that back. We're just amending it to move the girls' positions and keep the boys. Yeah.
The more I thought about that, the more I thought about that, I mean, I'm ready to do that now.
Okay.
I mean, I'm ready. I think we should just do it now rather than do another set of interviews and you got the same ones that they're gonna be interviewing.
Wouldn't be exactly the same. We've narrowed it down,
Yeah,
but
I mean, we should just, why don't we pull that and put that to the back? And we can have our discussions or however we wanna do that. But I think we should just go ahead and hire.
What's the purpose for a second round of interviews?
I don't understand that either. Why is it so?
because there was no recommendation made. The committee interviewed and made no recommendation.
Is that,
And one of the reasons for that was because the two board members who were going to be there didn't show up.
I'm
We
one, I
Didn't have that.
there.
Yeah, I was
So-
comparing
So we can't really make a decision without a recommendation. So they've narrowed it down, and then when we narrow it down, we'll have additional questions, and then we can come with a recommendation. Because we can't really discuss or vet candidates at a public meeting. That's why, it has to be, here's who we recommend, and then it's yes or no.
well, I just, based on how many people applied, there's only one would not be getting, one of the positions, considering what's all available. Is that correct?
Yes and no. One of the other people who applied was after the deadline. but that person was still allowed to interview. And so there's a lot of moving parts and we want to make sure we do everything correctly.
Okay, I'm fine either way if we want to do it today or if we want to move to our special. I was just curious to why we were making the change.
Right. We don't plan to add anybody, so it's not like suddenly someone's gonna be bumped because we're adding new candidates. We
See,
just
yeah,
want to narrow it down.
and even if a board member is there, they can, I mean, if there would have been two people that were tied, how are they gonna make that decision on which one? It's up to that person? I mean, that isn't the way it should be.
Right.
You know, I don't think I should be saying, yeah, this is who I'm recommending. You know, it should
No,
be a
it's-
board.
It's not up to that one position, but the committee decided that they weren't in a position quite yet to make a recommendation because the scores were as they were.
Does the school board need a recommendation for us to make
No,
a move on it?
no. No. I
Generally
mean,
good.
what the board should get, if possible, is those scores. I mean, can't they get those scores? Can the board, can everybody else get them?
But when you get those scores, it doesn't really say anything. There's
Yeah.
more to it
What
than just
tells the
scores.
board what the
There's
committee
also-
voted.
It's
There's-
just, yeah, it's just, it's the scores. I mean, if that's
Mhm.
what we're basing hiring the person on, is the scores.
Mhm. But I don't believe the committee also has had time yet to do recommendation calls. Would that be correct?
What kind of committee do we have?
The
If
higher.
it showed up, the scores would have been different.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So my strong recommendation is so that we do this properly and correctly, that we, simply do another,
The second round will have school board members on the,
I would like to see that, yep, and a different,
is it the same too, or can we have different ones?
and you could have different ones, although the personnel committee members are usually the ones who participate, so. But I would like to see those two plus a third one. So we have a representation of three, but not a quorum, of course, but three at least. That way, if one can't make it, we still have two.
I'm willing to make myself available for it if that's possible.
See, that's the thing on some of these also is that some of them they have you as a,
Reference.
yeah, like Chris too, you know, they have him as a reference,
Oh, so that,
you know,
Give me a
so
call.
that kinda, you know,
But that's okay, if you're a reference, then you are quite prepared and well poised or positioned to have a say or a comment, you know? And a vote. Person. But, done this for many years and it's best if we follow the proper procedure. Usually a board should have,
We should have already selected by
recommendation.
now.
Right.
Why are we dragging this out further and further?
because the committee did not submit a
Well,
recommendation.
how do we decide who's on the committee then? Maybe we need to relook our committees.
Mhm. Committee is usually made up of cross-section of school staff and board members. So this next time around, and I wasn't on it, this next time around, I would, plan is to have HR on it, me on it, 3 board members, 2 administrators. We have good cross-section, of another level, but a lot of schools do that when they hire. They start with a field, and they narrow it down, and they interview again, recommendation.
is that what the board wants to do then? You
I
want it?
I would go with your recommendation. Let's just get it over with today.
I mean, what do you guys think? I mean, should we do it over or you wanna see those 4 things? I mean, it just tells the scores.
I'm sure it ain't a issue for her to get a copy of the scores and pass them on.
I'd feel more comfortable if we went through with the process properly.
We should have already done it properly.
All this thinking should have been before. Why is it right now? Why is it at the table right now that we're gonna do it this way? And
It's at the table now because we
I just don't do
had
it.
hoped that the timeline would work, but
Let me share interesting, so my very first time being elected to the board went down to the MSBA thing and they said, what do you think the number one thing you're gonna spend your time on as a board member? And it was, finance, budget, policy, You know, a lot of good answers went out there, and the speaker, he said, nope. He said head coaching position. So I was like, what? You're crazy. Sounded so crazy to me, but he's right.
Mhm.
People are really, really, really serious about, passionate about varsity sport. We don't get very many people coming up to speak on anything else. You know, from my time, and this is about 2 terms, I think. Cause I did one full one, a half one, and I filled in. And that's what we care about.
I bring up that curriculum committee quite a bit.
Well, you do, but
Yeah.
the
And-
community is not here speaking
But-
on.
And then they go, that's too boring. They don't wanna be on, they don't wanna do it. So that's why we just have those ones. But I'm learning more and more of them. Researching it. Yeah, we should be enthused about curriculum, just like we are with basketball.
Okay, so what are we gonna do then? We're gonna get that thing and I mean, we can always vote. And if it's a tie, then they can go back to re-interviewing or however you wanna do it, but I think already the interviews have been done. Let's move on. I mean, that's what I'm thinking. So I don't know, what do you guys think? What do you guys wanna do?
I agree with you, Chairman.
You know,
Well, I think we can call a vote to see what you want to do. You can vote on it right now.
yeah.
If you'd like to,
Well, who are the finalists? Who we voting on here? We
Yeah,
don't
I
even know
haven't seen
that.
Yeah, well, see, that's why, can you get us a copy of, I think it's just mainly the thing that has the score things on it, right? That has
Well,
who
Tim,
came in,
were you just suggesting we vote on actually taking action or
Yep.
voting on our final?
vote on taking action as to vote.
So we could decide if we wanna do something about it today, or if we wanna put it off until our special meeting.
Right,
What date would the special be?
11th.
the 11th, it looks like, yeah.
Season starts on the 18th for the girls.
Doesn't it close?
well, the first thing we need to do is pull this off the consent then, right? So we pull J off the consent. Right?
At least the girls' portion, we can leave the
I
boys'
thought
portion.
you said we couldn't do that. Remember, somebody wanted to take something off there and you said, that was when you were right.
Yeah,
And
and I,
then we would have to do it individually then.
yep, and I researched that. We do it right now at the beginning.
Yep, so if you want to adjust the agenda, we do it at the beginning, so we can modify J to boys.
We didn't vote on accepting the consent agenda yet.
No.
Right, right,
We didn't even do the regular agenda.
Right,
thing.
so- exactly. So,
So it's the right time right now
So,
yeah.
to adjust it.
so the vote would be,
Or when we get to the consent,
Do we know how many people were present for the interviews that were supposed to be the interviewers?
4,
4 out of,
6. And not that that matters, they can still do the interviews,
It was
but
just 2 board members were absent.
they felt that,
I'm just wondering, like, 4 people doing an interview is still, if there was like 1 or 2, then I'd for sure wanna hold off on it and redo it, but if there's 4 people, I mean,
Mhm.
So I like Chairman Barrett's ideas so they can get started and get focused on the rest of the plan, the
Mhm.
rest of the road.
okay, so once we get to the consent, then we'll pull it. We can't pull it yet.
Right.
We
So what
can-
we could do is take care of delegations and reports if you like, in the meantime, until we get the information on the scoring.
Well, we gotta approve the agenda first.
so that means we have to amend item 7J to just be for boys baseball, and we'll move the other part of it to go to that 9D. How we do it?
It doesn't have to be an action item, it could be, and there's no reason you have to worry about like procedures. You as a board can decide that You can keep everything as is right now. And then when we get to taking a look at the scores, you may decide, oh, maybe we do want to wait. So then you can vote to change the agenda at that point. You can do it later on.
No, Colleen, you told me we couldn't do that when I tried to change it back in December.
I
You
told
said-
you that.
Yeah, because I wanted to change a security guard position. You go, no, you can't do that. And so I went to MSBA and yes, you can. You gotta change it at the beginning of the board meeting. Remember, I tried to pull a recommendation to the board for hiring,
Mhm.
and then
And my statement there had to do with the fact that you can't just based on personal information, make a change. But if the whole board decides together that they want to make a change to the agenda, they can do that at any time.
But they still want to.
Yep.
Then Phil's gonna, or Ashley's gonna bring.
So what we'll do
Yeah.
is
Oh,
we'll
yeah,
put
you can.
from the consent J, we'll put that to 10C.
She's bringing them up.
Because it is an action item, isn't it?
Sure.
I mean,
Yep.
it's an action item.
Fair enough.
So
Yep, whatever
that'll
you
be
wanna do.
the,
For your,
you got the whole-
already hired? Nope, not for the girls.
How about for the boys? I didn't know we were gonna get this. I thought we were just gonna get the
Ashley's bringing something else, that's what she gave you, but then she's bringing another paper.
Oh, okay. Okay, well, should we, let's spend a little time on this, or should we approve the agenda and get going?
This doesn't really tell us nothing.
That's what I mean, there was no recommendation made. The recommendation
Who
is,
picks the committee?
The committee is like, what is it, it's,
personnel,
personnel committee? Is that it? Oh,
at least
okay.
on the board.
I'm on there, you know,
What do you got on the scores?
It just does, it's, and who is the right person doing the writing? I don't see no initials. Who scored what each.
I don't think you're supposed to see that, is that
This
just,
looks like it's like one
these like,
individual.
you know,
Like
Yeah.
one person scores.
yeah, they're how they're scoring,
This is
so I
just
don't,
one of the four.
I didn't want these, I just wanted the one where it had like how much they were.
I'll
And
get you
who-
out there.
It had the list. That's all, I didn't want all this, I mean. But you're right, I mean, you can't tell anything anyway. Oh, you can see answers, but yeah, already 121 here and.
Yeah, and also board members knowing, you know, they should have been in the committee, this meeting, knowing firsthand what they know about applicants.
Honestly, they're gonna be a whole group consensus. So all four of them are gonna get the same scores each time.
No, we get our own sheets and we tally our own numbers. So each committee member has their own tally sheet and then they add all together. And it looks like we only got one person.
Yeah, and you know, usually, I mean, yeah, the interviewing committee can make a recommendation, but the board doesn't necessarily have to go with their recommendation.
Right.
They can vote whoever they want.
Yep, exactly.
You know, they don't,
So the board can make the recommendation or a nomination. to- So if you
But
see,
no,
from-
that's not what they told me back in December. We gotta go with what the committee recommends.
no, we.
And then we had to take that and just accept that.
yep,
security
that's what
guard.
I'm saying, and there was no recommendation because the scores were, as you see here, there needs to be more.
What
process.
more though, when one of them has, you know,
We have to go more in depth with more questions and more scenarios to find out which rises to the top. Or we could just flip a coin, but that wouldn't be fair.
It would be.
No,
Technically, I
It would
suppose.
actually be fair to do that.
They do that with the
If
election.
there was two people that had the same score.
no,
Oh, yeah,
we're elected
they've
officials
done that.
and our number one thing is student achievement.
Well,
We
that-
shouldn't be
no.
concerned about popularity or if we're gonna win the next election. We all gotta stay focused on student achievement.
Right. So because of a lack of a recommendation, my recommendation is that we narrow it down now and we go into more in-depth scenarios and questioning and end up, and have the person rise to the top. That's what the committee recommends. Then at the board meeting, the board can say either yay or nay at the next board meeting. But it's up to you. That's the board. So you
So what do you guys wanna do? I mean, what, should
Vote today.
we take a vote, continue to have this on the agenda or remove it and have them do more interviews?
I say let's just vote today. I don't know how does the rest of the board feel?
I think we need to have a motion and a second, a motion to, let's say, vote today, and then second it. Or a motion to postpone it, second it, and then take a vote on that motion.
Because even if there's a tie, then if there's a tie,
That's what the committee is for.
then you'll have to do
Mhm.
a second round then. If there's a tie, because there'll only be 6 members that'll be able to vote.
Here's one, here's
No,
one, here's
you're
one
7
option.
plus.
Yeah, but you wouldn't be able to vote.
No, I can.
No.
Yes, I can. I studied all of
You wouldn't be
that.
able to vote, right?
Yes, I can. You can support your children, you can't support your spouse.
My recommendation is that you don't, because even if you could, it's not, doesn't look good.
What is the point of raising children to be teachers and community ambassadors? What is the point of all that then? Of
So that they can
passing
be,
a
so
torch?
they can be part of the community, but not to vote for them.
Well, if you look on the MSBA, you can. It is allowed. You just cannot vote for your significant other.
That's what I would call.
Yeah, I wasn't, is that what you?
I really went to the same training, it sounds like.
And did you heard that too in class, yes?
Yeah, I had always thought, you kind of could too, but then, you just wouldn't. I mean, it's something.
Why?
I don't know. I mean, just to avoid any kind of conflicts of interest. and
There's none.
This and that.
It's already been proven, there's none.
My recommendation would be, to see how the vote turns out without you first. And you just see that way we're saying, what I mean? And if you need your vote, then you could have it.
Reality is either way, it's gonna be a mess.
Yeah, it is.
And this mess was not created by anybody here.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm very upset that we have to spend so much time on this, because none of us did the action to even get us here. We have to react as board members.
Mhm.
I know we wanna make a decision today, but then we would alleviate some of the mess by waiting and going through the process.
Either way, people are gonna be pissed, upset, no matter what. Like I said, it'd be cool if we were talking about curriculum and graduation rates, this passionate, I'd love that. But here we are, and it's sad that we're just following the norm, you know what I mean? Cause I was at the state school board association conference earlier than that, and it just blew my mind. That that's what I'm signing up for.
So is there a motion, one way or the other, that can be seconded and voted on? Wait, or to do it now?
Okay, I'll make a motion to do it now.
Do we approve the agenda first then, or do we
No.
do this first?
We have to do this first so we know what to do with the agenda.
Okay, so we have a motion by Nicole to vote on
Taking action.
Taking action today.
We're voting on one of the four people on this?
No. We're
Jeff,
just
not
voting
yet.
on taking action.
We're good voting to
We're
see
not
if we're
voting
gonna
on-
get to that point today, or if we're gonna not.
You know, it's gonna come up on 10C here if it passes. And then we'll go to the hiring of the coaches. Okay, we have a motion, take action today on coaches. I'll second it then. Further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
3. Opposed?
Alright,
4. Okay, motion will fail then, so we'll have to pull it and we'll do the. We'll pull, won't be no 10C. They'll pull it, they'll re-interview. Maybe in the meantime, if whoever wants to be on the interview committee, just say so. And,
Mm-hmm.
you
I'll
know,
do it.
I like to be excused from it.
Wait, if you are, a veteran, does that create any kind of conflict with being?
They
on the
just said it doesn't have.
Shouldn't.
Okay, yeah,
I've been a reference for people who applied principals in the district I've worked in, and it's just,
okay. We got her all set then?
Who's the
So-
other board member gonna be on there?
Mike, you gonna keep
Like
this
Tom.
Yeah, I suppose I'm on there, I guess.
Tina, are you willing
I
as
shouldn't,
personnel?
but-
Yeah, I can,
Mike and Tom and Tina.
you know,
And what I think we should do is either plan to have, like, maybe the day before our special board meeting. So if we were looking at the 11th for our special board meeting, or,
I'll be out of town.
take that back, 13th, we were looking.
November when?
November.
We were looking at the 13th, which would be a Wednesday.
Doesn't basketball season start on the 13th or something like that?
18.
18th?
So we'll have to set that. We'll figure it out. There are rules about when we can
Practice on-
canvass. Might be the 11th, as early as the 11th, I think. Are they going? So we can set that for like 1 o'clock, like we normally would.
Oh, you'll let us know the date then.
Yeah, let's plan on the 11th, and if it's a change, I'll let
Is
you
that a
know.
Wednesday?
The Monday
This is for the special.
for the special. Monday, the 11th, 1 o'clock.
I'm
And-
sorry, that's Veterans Day and I'll be in Vegas.
There won't, yeah, that's right. There's no work for anything, for
It would
anybody.
have to be the 12th then, and you're still gone, right?
I come home Monday. I'm an Indigenous World Series
Okay.
softball player.
Tribal
We'll be here on
council,
the
tribal
12th.
council meeting on the 12th.
Okay. So it may have to be the 13th. I don't think we can meet before, I believe the 8th is too early because there are certain rules about when we can canvass. So I'll double check that.
Well,
I'll be
when's
out of
the
town.
election, the 5th?
5th, yeah.
Oh, isn't that usually certified like 1 or 2 days
There's a certain
after
window.
that?
There's a certain window, 1 to 2, maybe 3 days after. So maybe the 8th would work.
Usually by Friday, but
Yeah.
usually, so.
If it's Friday the 8th, would that work?
No, I'm gonna be in Vegas.
Okay.
Indigenous.
So it might have to be something like the 13th or 13th then. So we'll figure that out and we'll let you know and we'll publicize it. And then either the morning of or the day before, we'll set up the meeting. So,
Of the 13th?
yeah, so either the 13th will be probably the day that we have our meeting. Either that morning or the day before, we'll have our second round.
But okay, so we're gonna be in Vegas.
You'll be back though by the,
And also one of your,
when are you back?
Monday night.
That's the 11th.
Mhm.
Okay, so.
Now be in Canada, cause Trump would.
Okay, let's,
All right.
Let's move on here, then now we'll.
Move on to the unimportant stuff.
Yeah. Okay, the approval of the agenda, then we'll need a motion on
Move.
Second.
Who?
Second.
That? Oh,
For agenda?
First motion.
Chris, okay, that motion by Chris, second by Jack. To approve the agenda for today. Further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed. Public comments and delegations.
We got it.
Bubba?
Yep, you're free.
Hello,
Hello.
my name is Avery Johnson. I currently am a bus driver for the school district. I drive bus 21. Bus route 21 is a long route. It's over an hour and a half long. And that does not include, wait times at school with students on board. And I started doing this route in 23 school year when I came back from family leave. So last school year it was, I think. But anyways, the route is really long. I have been struggling, with holding in my bladder for, the duration of the route. And I told Mike this several times, asked him if I could switch. He denied my request. And he also commiserated with me and said that when he did the route, he felt the same way. But as he has managerial right of assignment, he would not switch me. So, last school year, I was fighting off urinary tract infection and I started having, and dehydration, and I started having, shooting pains go up my back. I consulted with my cousin who has been a nurse for over 34 years. And she said, you shouldn't be holding in your urine that long and it can cause kidney issues. You should see your primary as soon as possible because that is very concerning to have pain shooting up your back. So now that I knew what the possible issues were, I bought supplements and liquid IV and I tried to time my liquid intakes better. But I still struggled with this, doing this long out. And he would not switch me. So when, he said now he was saying that there was no routes available for me to switch to. And so when Jimmy Okro retired, I asked again. I told him the duration of the route. I'm having trouble holding in my bladder. I'm having issues holding my bladder during this route. Could I switch to 22? He refused my request, saying he has managerial right of assignment and he would not switch me. So this school year, the route was even longer with the school time changes. And I just could not do it. I could not. It was really difficult. And I asked again, can I switch to route 22 because it was still open because Frank Brunn had not been hired yet. He was not hired until September 18th. And he ended up assigning that route to Frank Brunn. And when I had asked this around that time, the second time he said, I needed a doctor's note and to go see HR, Ashley Nelson, his wife. She told me to go get a doctor's note. So I got a doctor's note. He refused this doctor note, saying that it did not have enough detail in the note. And it says, she said this was not enough details for the route. And all it really said was, is unable to participate in bus routes for greater than 60 minutes due to her medical condition until she had to, alter this a little bit because Ashley would not accept this 60 minutes due to her medical condition. So she made an amendment to it. She said she was just baffled. She said, I am just baffled. Any note I have written for anyone for a work situation, they have accepted this. She said, this is not an unreasonable request. So she added, she said, I'm going to have to turn this over to your primary. I had to establish a new primary because my old primary no longer work at the IHS. So she altered this and she put until 10/2/24 until altered by primary care. And then in the meantime, she put she would be able to complete clerical or desk work for her typically scheduled shift duration if available. If they could not do this accommodation of 60 minutes. So during this time, Ashley and Mike, they made me a work accommodation paper, and they used that part where it says she would be able to complete clerical or desk work for place scheduled shift if available, if they could not accommodate for 60 minutes. So they used this part, the clerical desk work. Anytime I wasn't driving the bus, they wanted me in working with Lisa or Vidal in the PM. Anytime I wasn't driving the bus. So in the morning, I was doing my regular shift duties, which includes sweeping the bus, cleaning my windshield so I could see out the windshield or fueling. Mike would come out there and say, you need to be in the office with Lisa. And I said, well, so that means I can't sweep the bus. I can't clean the windshield. I can't fuel the bus for my route. And so he said, okay, well, after that, but he kept coming out to the bus to come and get me. So at this point, it just felt a little bit harassing because I was just trying to prepare my bus for the next run, but he is using to be able to complete, he was using that against me. So when I had my primary appointment, she took that off of there. This is my new primary. She said, I had talked to Ashley because the first doctor had said, she does not need your details. She does not need your medical details. The whole office does not need to know. And Ashley said to me right out here in the parking lot, because I was doing a run for another driver. She said, well, actually, your employers can request your medical record as it pertains to your job duties. For instance, the superintendent has to take a physical every year to be deemed fit for duty. And so she told me that they were going to follow ADA guidelines for Americans with Disabilities Act guidelines for employees. So now she's trying to turn something as simple as I'm just, someone's getting older and cannot hold their bladder in like they used to when they're younger into a disability. And my provider had actually asked me, because I'd asked Ashley a couple of times at this point. I know she did leave on vacation after this, but what kind of details does she need? Because this is what I wrote to Ashley Nelson. I'm writing to request a transfer to a shorter bus route due to the longevity of bus route 21 and no restrooms along the route. Most days this route is over 1 hour's drive time and does not include wait time at school. I have pasted and copied some of these emails to a couple of board members, so they probably know these details. I have talked in person with Mike Nelson in the previous 2 school years about the issue. Mike Nelson had mentioned that routes are assigned and there's no longer bidding on routes by seniority. In school year 2022-2023, I was assigned bus route 14, but Philip Smith asked for the route and Darylyn Cook gave him the route because of seniority. If routes are assigned, then Route 14 was taken by seniority, so they're kind of conflicting. Last year, Route 22 became available when Jimmy Oprah retired. I requested verbally with Mike Nelson to transfer to Route 22 because of the longevity of Route 21 and no public restrooms along the route, but my request was denied. I know we have spoken in person about this request and you stated that I needed a doctor's note. I provided a doctor's note and you consulted with Dustin Hinckley about the matter and let me know that you would need more detailed information because you would be following ADA guidelines regarding employees. I consulted with medical provider and she stated that she would like to know exactly what more detailed information that you would need because she has written doctor's notes before and this should have been enough. If she needs to provide medical information such as holding in urine can lead to weakened bladder muscles, urinary tract infections, kidney disease, and/or kidney stone. Should she also include information that not all bladders are the same size, capacities, and do not have the same bladder sensitivity? I requested last week if you could provide the exact details that my medical provider would need, but I have not received the email as of yet. I hope you can consider my request. And then in the meantime, I just put, thank you, Sean. P.S. Thank you for your quick response last week when I recorded the camera in bus garage bathroom and the naked photo on the bus garage workbench. And with that, she told me she handed the bathroom investigation over to Dustin Hinckley and he would do the research on that. And because she said it involved a lot of watching video of surveillance and she would leave on vacation to California. And then she said she would be handling, or Mike would be handling the naked photo internally because the way she sees it, or the way that it's looked at is that everyone who saw the photo, since it had been there the last week of August, is guilty because they didn't report it and it was not taken down before that. And so in the meantime, I have been facing some slight harassment from Mike. He came on my bus. He approached me and told me that I can't use my vacation pay on Mondays. It has to be approved first, but he had let me use it all his last school year and up until this started happening. So now I need approval first. So is he telling everybody that, or is he just telling me? And then, so he's kind of short with me all week. And then that Friday, all of a sudden he was like really nice again. So it's kind of like, going back and forth. And then Ashley had texted me on September 18th, telling me they had the perfect plan for a bus modification or for my route. And this was her text. Hi, Iris, ended up with a perfect plan that would accommodate and still have minimal impact on students. Your supervisor will ride along with you tomorrow during the AM and PM route to make sure it goes over and the accommodation is, it says meets, but I think she must put met. The plan is to ensure that you have a bus aid before you leave the school, both in the AM and the PM, and then there'll be a restroom break in Red Bee at either store of your choosing, both in the AM and the PM. The bus aide will supervise the students during that time. Your supervisor will bring a stopwatch tomorrow to make sure that this would be within the 1 hour request. And I just thought, Red Bee One Stop has a sign on their bathroom door that says no public restroom. And the union said that the bathroom at Jambies wouldn't be considered a public restroom because you can see the bathroom in the back when you're in the bathroom. So she said the school would be liable for a slip or fall since I was asked to stop there if there was ice on the ground and I stopped there to use. So anyway, that was what was happening there. October 10th, one of the new paras had started smoking in the bus garage bathroom. I asked Mike if he could ask her to stop. He walked in there and he was like, nope. He said, it doesn't smell like any other smoke that's in there because some employees will smudge the area and then one of the other employees will light some incense. And so we had a visitor last week that journeying on the Tyler technology tablets that are being used in the buses. Her name is Sonia, I believe. But she was there and I didn't want to go in there if someone had been vaping because I have asthma. So she went in there and she's like, yep, that's cigarette smoke. It's there. And then you could see the ashes in front of the toilet. And so anyway, so he was being really dismissive of me. So I felt like it was a hostile environment because the school board has a no smoking policy in their building. And he was dismissed and didn't do anything about it. So I went to see, business manager Willie Larson. He asked me all the details. He did the things that Mike should have did. He asked me the details, the time, date, and he said, I'll get right on it. And this is probably something Mike should have did, but he did not do that. And then on Friday, the next day, I came from my LA run, which sometimes runs till 1:45. And I went to the bus garage parking lot to pick up my bus aid, but she wasn't there that day because I didn't know they were at the time. She did board at the secondary complex, but I didn't know if she was coming or not. But there was a pep rally, so she had helped out with that. But anyways, I go to line up and Mike wanted to talk to me about something with the tablets. I said, can you hold on a second? I'll be right back. I wanted to go in and out before the bell rang because I didn't have anyone to watch my kids that day. And he looked at his watch and he goes, you were just at the ECC 20 minutes ago. So I was like, so you're timing my bathroom breaks? I mean, it seemed kind of harassing. So I called the union and she talked to, so if he knows my bathroom breaks, does he know the bathroom breaks of everybody else? Or is he just timing mine? So she called she called Willie Nelson and Willie said he would take care of it. Or Willie Larson. Oh my God, Willie Nelson. Sorry.
I call him that
Oh,
sometimes.
Yeah, exactly.
Easy.
Yeah, I just feel like I don't want to be retaliated against from my medical, my medical, or, just for this issue. It will not keep me from getting a DOT, but it's personal enough that I don't, want the entire office to know. If you've ever been on a road trip and you really needed to go to the bathroom and you couldn't, that's how I feel every day, twice a day. So.
Okay, so, thank you. I will, do some work on making sure you don't feel.
Yeah, I sent you.
Seriously, and, I do know we're trying to fix it for you. So
All right.
thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah, thank you.
You want to speak next? Anybody else, or? You don't need to.
Oh, that one. So, my name is Dan Lafferty. I'm on the APAC committee. And sort of like they voted me to help speak with Dr. Gano.
Before you start,
And we,
I think we didn't mention anything for Eris because she, I think, had a more of a serious issue, but we generally try to keep all comments to 4 or 5 minutes. That's okay. I'm
yeah,
guessing you won't need that much time.
no,
And now it's nice to
the
know. for
issue-
safety.
that occurred
Yeah,
Friday was about my grandson not being able to enter the school dance,
won't happen again.
which, yeah, worked on that. It upsetted me, well, it upsetted a lot of parents, grandparents, basically, but, my grandson plays on the football team. His name is Sebastian Strong White. And he played Friday, before that, he was coordinated for, the King for freshmen. He's a freshman this year. He's a football player, plays JV and stuff for high school. And then, so after the game was late, after 8. And due to the fact that he don't have no driver's license, we gotta pick him up. We have to make arrangements. Who's got the car? Who's got a car? Take him home. He wanted to get cleaned up. Chard came to the house. I braided his hair. Got in his auntie, took him up to the school at a little quarter after 8. I'm at 10. And the security guard, closed the door on him and said he couldn't enter. And then the principal, there was a principal there who happened to be Tracy Olson, told the security guard that to just let him in so he could call home to get a ride home because they weren't gonna let him in. And so that's what. And so I went in Monday and talked to Delana, told her what took place. And he does his very best to do what he needs to do for school. And to be treated like this, and, you know, yeah, that was hard. He didn't want me to come in, and I said, no, because there was another student that got the same treatment. But then I heard my niece and her partner was able to walk in, but these two weren't. So, just because we don't want this to happen again to any student. I mean, our kids already have a rough time trying to get to school, transportation, maybe something's going on at home. And that's what my little issue was. So, just to let you guys be aware of what, you know, our kids are struggling as it is. Like I got one student, one grandson, I'm barely getting him to school because he's gone through a trauma of losing his dad. He'll be a year now. And I can't get him to school. We tried everything, but I don't know about homeschooling. But anyway, that's what has come to me outside, because I work out in the community. What I see of our students, our children, you know, we're still not dealing with their traumas and why they're struggling. Some are doing it, but they still are struggling, okay? So be aware of it. Oh, okay, and then I'll go with the nuance, the other one.
Thank you.
Thank you, yeah.
I forgot the paper that I actually wrote the like names and dates, but I have several coworkers that are, they were happy that I'm coming to say something because they couldn't, because they feel like they couldn't lose their job. And it's quite well known that, one of the drivers got written up because he called Mike Nelson, told me he was calling in sick. And Mike had called him and kind of argued with him about missing a route that, and he was like, didn't you get my message? And he said, no, I didn't get your message. And he knows he called him and left a message or text him. I'm not sure how that went around. Anyways, he got it right after that. So it's kind of well known that the drivers, they can't just call Mike. They have to call Mike and Lisa because Mike wrote someone up for that. And you could say, I didn't get your message. And I just wanted to, say also that one of the other coworkers said that, her husband was called for a discipline meeting up in Panema. And Mike Nelson and his wife, Ashley Nelson, showed up to the discipline meeting. So even though they say there's no conflict, obviously in my case and their case, it is a conflict. There's no policy in the school board, in the Red Lake School District policy against supervisors being married, but there should be. Because this is a big issue and it's a problem. It's a big conflict. No one should be treated like this, even if Ashley Nelson can legally cover herself and Mike. It's not fair for the employees to be treated like this. When something that could be easily be solvable as a supervisor to make you jump through hoops. It's ridiculous. You know, it's really sad. But I just want to say that because my coworkers that wanted to be here can't be here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Okay. That's all on public comment. Report, Superintendent Rock.
Thank you. I would refer you, well, first of all, I think because we have Nolan and Principal Frederickson here, if we could have them, pardon me? have them do their reports because they're busy and need to get back to other things, so. They're first going to talk about eligibility, just a refresher on what our guidelines are and how students become ineligible and then become eligible again, how they earn it back. Always seems to be a concern, especially as we get into winter sports and activities.
All right, so our current policy is 625. If you need copies, I'll go make copies. So just a little, Nolan, like the support person, apparently, he wants me to talk. So, Minnesota State High School League, is an organization that sponsors programs for high school students in sports, fine arts, academics. They have eligibility rules that students must follow to participate in programs. They are found in the Minnesota State High School League handbook or on their website. And the rules cover topics such as age, enrollment, attendance, academic standards, transfers, and conduct. If a student does not meet the eligibility requirements, they cannot train, practice, or compete. Our district has taken a policy. We've taken some of the Minnesota State High School leagues and we've made it a little bit more specific. So currently, correct me, I mean, you looked over what I have together, a little cheat sheet, and I will gladly send it to you because it's not anything that's you guys couldn't find if you have coached or a current coach or have been in the district for a while. So currently, coaches make students aware if they're eligible or not. Nolan shares the eligibility list with the coaches for the season, whether it's football, volleyball, boys and girls basketball, cross-country skiing, robotics, esports, baseball, and softball. All of those activities fall under the Minnesota State High School League rule. So it's not just sports specific. It is, I feel like I missed one in there, but I think it was the esports was, and then cross-country is our newest one. But robotics also has a season. And since they are governed by Minnesota State High School League, anybody participating in robotics has to meet the criteria as well. So once a week, we submit an eligibility list. It goes out to the teaching staff. Nolan, Superintendent Boots is on there and everything else. Some of the things that are on there are based on the rosters that we get from the coaches. And so it is shared with all staff. As students improve their grades to greater than 70%, which is a C-, they need to submit an updated grade report. It ends up going to me. As I receive the updated grade report, I email an update of status. So typically what I do is, and I'm going to use names and I'm going to use your guys' names just to kind of give you an example. So if Tom is in the red in a class, and Chris here is the teacher and sends me an updated grade report and says Tom is now passing my US history class, I will take that and I will put Tom Barrett is now passing all classes and is fully eligible as long as his attendance is also good. So that is kind of how my emails roll for the people on that email list so that they all know. And then teachers are given a sheet. So on that eligibility list at the very top, it is color coordinated. So if it is yellow, it lets them know that they are on probation for first quarter grades and that the probation period begins today. So they either have a D plus, a D, D-, or an F in one or more classes. They have one calendar week to raise their grades to a minimum of C- in all classes. They may practice and play during this probationary period. If they do not raise their grades by next Wednesday, they are suspended from all participation until their grade does reach a C-. And then it references policies 625A, 4, A5, and A6. And so all of the adults that are on this email thread and then you send it to the coaches are made aware of what portion of the policy it is. If it is red, if the students are in red, they may not practice or compete until their grades reach a C- in all classes, and it references again the policy A4, A5, and A6. If it's green, these folks are on probation for attendance. They have less than 90% for their previous week. If they do not, they're given a week to get 90% or better to be on probation. If they cannot make 90% or better for 2 consecutive weeks, they're suspended from participating until their attendance reaches 90%. And then that is policy, it's B4 and B5. If they're in the blue, they're ineligible because of their attendance, and that's policy sections B4 and B5. And before everybody's like, oh my gosh, like you guys don't do anything to help. Not true. I'm not going to speak for all of the coaches, but as a coach myself, and Nolan as a coach, and as an AD, Chris, you probably are also in there, right? We encourage our kids to go to homework help. So if I have girls that are not eligible, homework help, you need to go to homework help until, we start seeing an improvement on your grades. The high school offers homework help Monday through Thursday, every day that school is in session. If we don't have school on tomorrow, obviously there's no homework help. If weather school will be letting out early because of weather, there would be no homework help. We started homework help at the high school in the middle of September. That information is shared with all kids and everything else. And it might not just be a time a kid goes in there for homework help because, oh my gosh, I'm failing my current class. It could be, I missed a day. I had a doctor's appointment. I missed my test in Tom's social studies class. So I'm going to go, Mr. Barrett has given the homework help teacher the test, and I'm going to go and I'm going to make up my test. If I make up my test and I don't have to stay in homework help, it was just solely to make up the test, then I'm going to go to practice. And I do know there are coaches at different levels, in different events that will say, hey, you know what? We have a lot of kids that are not eligible today. We're all going to the homework help room, and that is where we go. And coaches will sit with the kids. I've done it myself, so that we can make sure the kids understand that academics are important so that they are eligible to play. And then I give out reminders to the kids when I have parents call and let them know that they need to make sure they're calling into the main office for attendance so that attendance is reflected, which is always easier to do. Our current attendance policy says within 48 hours, and we can go back 3 days. I also encourage, and if you get phone calls from parents, encourage them to leave a voicemail. Sometimes that phone is going crazy in the main office and everything else. But if they leave a voicemail, Barb is really good about documenting it. And then she goes back and she changes attendance. And so it's really hard when somebody misses for 3-4 days and no phone call. And then, oh, hey, we have a game. We got a game. We're playing Ada today at 3:00. Like, what do I do to get my kid eligible? So just remind parents and guardians, and we do the same thing, that they need to make sure that they're calling the main office. About all I have for eligibility.
On eligibility, when I went to the AD meeting in Cass Lake a couple weeks ago, those conferences we did discuss grade checks. Our school, we do ours every week compared to others where it's once a semester, once a month. It all depends on their district policies.
I noticed the students have an app on their phone where they get their grades updated. The grades that they see, is that the same grades you'll see too? Or is there times where the teachers could update those grades for the kids and you might not get that email?
So usually, so once again, I'm only going to speak for the staff I supervise. I'm not going to speak for middle school. The teachers are expected to update their grades at least weekly. If they can do it more, they do it more. So usually most of the teachers are really good. There might be an exception here and there because somebody is gone or something like that. So if that teacher is gone for a couple of days and it's unavoidable and they know who the sub is, and the sub might be like, hey, so-and-so handed in work. The teacher usually will text me or email me going like, hey, so-and-so is now passing because they've handed in enough. And so they're kind of giving the kid the benefit of the doubt. So I feel the staff have done a really good job of that at the high school if it's extenuating circumstances and they are out. So yeah, there might be a little bit of a lag because Synergy updates. It's a 24-hour period for Synergy to update sometimes and everything else. So just because you change a grade as a teacher doesn't mean it's quickly reflected. That's why they send the grade are supposed to send a copy of the grade report.
So a text message or a phone call from a teacher to a coach or AD would be suffice?
It should come through me so I can send that email out. So
Okay.
we're staying consistent, right? Because if a teacher, because then we're putting our teachers in a bad spot if we're expecting our coaches to be getting a text or a message from them. And so the process prior to me being the high school principal was Tracy. We did talk about other pieces this summer and stuff like that, but right now it should be me because that doesn't put any teacher or coach in a bad spot well, I saw Nicole and she verbally confirmed that Mike was passing. So then
I only
I
asked.
have the email to back it up.
I just know there's been instances where the student will say, oh yeah, the teacher said if I do X, Y, and Z homework, schoolwork, I'll be passing. And then the teacher gave them like the verbal, confirmation, like, yeah, you take care of this, you'll be passing. And then they go see their coach on practice or game day and then the coach, I guess, or you never got anything from that teacher.
Right.
So just those little gray areas, I'm trying to figure out what.
And
what's
I
acceptable.
will make sure, once again, and I usually, middle school is included on the emails, the same process is followed and stuff like that. And we could just remind, I remind in my daily bulletin for teachers to know that you need to keep your grades up to date. Because nothing is more deflating than the grades not accurately reflected and a parent's calling me, even if they're not in sports, calling me saying, hey, how come my kid is failing XYZ? Or my kid has been in Chris's class and Chris hasn't updated his grades. As a principal, I can see when everybody updates their grades. And so if Chris is not updating his grades once a week, then that's where Chris and I are gonna have a conversation.
So just better communication. I mean,
Yeah, I
communication.
feel like it is, and like I said, the kids at the high school level, and I believe the middle school is going to be starting, the beginning of November, they're going to be starting homework help as well.
And then if anybody's failing or anything, it's up to that student then, right? I mean, they're all aware of, they have all these things that can help them and
Right.
they're not taking advantage of them. I mean, that's no one's fault of their own,
Right.
Mhm.
right? I mean,
And if parents call, we make it very clear, homework help is an option, and it's not open to just athletes, it is open to any of our kids. That may be falling a little bit behind in their classes, or need to make up a test or an assignment because they were gone for other reasons.
and then one more thing, that's not anything to do with sports, but about that dance, you know, why was it held 8 to 11? You know, why couldn't it have been like 9 to 12 to accommodate the game? There was a game at 7, they weren't done till 8:30, right? Yeah, you know,
Communication.
so, you know, just,
Yeah, well, in lesson learned, and Deanna was really good about, I had another parent in my office when she came in, and so Delana,
yeah,
did meet with her and stuff like that, and then gave us bullet points, Superintendent Tracy and myself, of some of the pieces of their conversation and stuff like that, and so moving forward, you know, if it should happen again, we would make sure that we could accommodate, but not all of our
Yeah, just a
kids
little
attending. Yeah,
better
yeah,
communication.
and not all of our kids attending are, athletes. We did have kids that were there early. We have kids who have curfews and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, there just was definitely some learning pieces. So the next event, we will make sure.
Next homecoming
is-
will be great. Perfect.
And any event in general, whether it's winter formal or whatever, I think we just
Yeah.
need to make it clear, on social media, for the posters that are in the hallways and stuff like that, when the cutoff time is to come in. And there's some other pieces too that I want to make sure that we add. Bringing in illegal items, coming in under the influence, things like that.
Okay, well, we appreciate that. And anybody, yeah.
I didn't see your email until now, sorry. But, you know, I can say too, the kids really have a lot of support. Like you said, if they don't make it, it's because they often choose not to. So, and when there's a lack of communication with that, it's because they waited till the last minute. You know, if they could just get it done when they're supposed to. you know. Thank you, guys.
My least favorite part of the game right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're always, you know, we tell them right away, hey, let's just stay eligible.
Yeah,
Don't try to
agreed.
catch up. You know what I mean? Just keep
Yeah.
up.
And I start talking to the girls in August.
But yeah.
And their school's not even on their mind, but we still start having that conversation about
Yeah.
making sure that they stay eligible and everything else.
Now, I asked,
Yeah,
Principal
that's what I'm
Frederickson.
like, can I just,
she's got some good news for us now too, a good update.
Yeah.
well, one of the
Good
exciting
luck,
things
Coach.
is, before I go into, the nitty gritty details of graduation, we actually do already have one graduate for this coming school year. And so, which I think is exciting, and not that we don't have more. I mean, we will have more, but she actually just finished, this week. She, did not finish prior, has now come back and has finished. And so I know you probably also had mentioned to them, in maybe August, that we did have some more graduates over the summer who attended summer school. Did you?
Yep,
Okay. All right, so I made a lovely little, thing, and then it apparently cut off, so that is why I currently have my phone off. So currently we have 109 first-time seniors between the Red Lake High School and Red Lake ALC. And so and then we have 38 students enrolled as seniors, that are second year or more. There might be second year or third year seniors. So for the class of 2025 cohort, which includes Red Lake ALC, and the high school. I just wanna make sure I look at the one. We have 13 students that transferred to another district, which makes up for about 7% of it. We have 33% not currently enrolled, and these numbers might have changed a little bit from when we pulled this data. Because I've been trying to do as much reach out as possible and get kids back, so that they can, hopefully come to school and finish up. So we have, kids needing less than 7 credits right now. We have, 24 kids that need less than 7 credits. 7 credits is doable, within the school year. And then we have with some support, which would be extended day, which I'll talk to in just a second. We have, so they need 10 or less credits. We have 5 kids in that boat. And then kids that need more than 10 credits, we currently have 79 kids. And so between the, need a little bit of support and need a lot of support, we offer extended day through ALC, which is coming to school outside of the school day. It's coming to school from 3:30 to 5. I set up a parent meeting with the students and the parent and guardian, and then we talk about like, hey, this is what your class schedule looks like, but you also need this class so they can go to extended day and they can work on content, core content classes. So if it's a math, social studies, English, or science. And we are gonna do a little bit of Ojibwe. I have somebody who's willing to come in a couple days a week if the Ojibwe requirement, so that we can get that taken care of. So we currently have 4 kids that are doing extended day out of this group of ones that need a little bit of support. And I have parents that just since we were halfway through the quarter have now like, hey, what do I need to do? And so hopefully we'll see an increase in kids in the next couple of weeks who come to extended day. And so then we have our class of 2025 seniors, which they're enrolled as a 12th grader, but they might be 2nd or 3rd year kids. And so right now, so they need more than 10 credits. We have about 59 kids. On track, 7 or less, we have 38 kids. With support, they need 10 or less credits. We have 14 students. And so we'll just do, like I said, it's just a little chart to kind of base on, and it includes ALC and high school so that we know. And so the class of are enrolled as 12th graders. And some of them, because the way our system is set up, might just carry over. They might be, like I said, 2nd or 3rd year seniors as well. Any specific questions? And I think as we get rolling, I usually try and send Tim for a board report information so he kind of can update you guys with where we are sitting at. Within the next couple of weeks, letters will be going out to seniors and their families and letting them know, hey, this is where your child currently is at. This is how many credits you should be at right now to be on track. And then we provide information about extended day and reaching out and getting them enrolled if that's what they choose to do. And sometimes it is a hard sell for some of our kids because they'd rather be with sports. However, we also are willing to work with them and the coaches. So if a kid needs a class, maybe it's you go to practice 3 days a week and you come to extended day twice a week. Anything else?
Yeah, real quick, like, I noticed like, another thing that I just wanna think about is like during like, winter sports. And, I know sometimes kids end up in a position where they're ineligible to go to the sports games because of, disciplinary action from school. That there's some kind of like system set up for if that kid doesn't have a way to contact for a ride, that they're not like left standing out in the cold or in that cold area between the entrance doors. You know what I mean? I get the system of, having some type of disciplinary action for kids who do whatever in school where they can't come to the games. But I just know I've seen last year, like a kid, like, oh, hey, you're on the list, can't come in. And he showed up by himself and then all of a sudden he's outside in a hoodie in the below 0 weather.
Yeah, we can't allow that.
Yeah,
Yeah, nope, I made a note so that will be shared with Tracy.
yeah. I don't know what the answer to that is. I just know it's something to think about.
Yeah, and I know there's been a couple times, some games I was at and a kid was not supposed to be there. And if that means we go back to my office to make a phone call or whatever, I'm more than willing to do that as well.
Well, if the police are there, they'll usually give someone a ride too, and, you know. Okay,
Anything else?
okay, that's enough.
All right. Yeah, I know, that's why I'm like, I just watched it. Thank you very much.
Hey, you know what, I remember I was looking at some of our notes, we used to get some of that stuff in here.
Mm-hmm.
When did
Yep.
that stop?
That-
Or,
Yep, pretty much. Actually, last year we used to get them too, and this one came in, but I wanted her to actually share it in
there
person.
used to be good, like each school had a report.
Mm.
Remember
Yep.
that?
Yep.
So, we're in one.
Okay, continue with your report.
Yeah, and before I get into that, I just received word that we have another, if we can accept this in and add this to our consent agenda, we'll have to make another change. We have a resignation of a special ed teacher, a DATE teacher at the elementary school. And if we can accept it and approve it today, then we can more quickly post for the position to get it refilled. So if we could add,
Is that your report?
pardon me? No, I'm not quite done yet. I just didn't want to forget that. So we can address it in just a bit. My report's actually all done, so we can move on to, the finance and enrollment report, and we can maybe take care of the agenda. So I would, refer you to page 4 in board book, and this is what we do every month. We take a look at the finance reports, and every month they're in order. And, Willie prepared this and submitted it last week. And as usual, it shows that we're sitting strong, starting balance of just over 25 million, ending balance of just over 26 million. Little more than $1 million more added to the cash flow to the balance. So we are, sitting very strong, and you'll see why in just a bit when we take a look at our enrollment numbers. So let's jump over to that. I refer you now to page 71. And, oh, shoot, I just closed that up. But our enrollment numbers are very encouraging. We've jumped by over 100 since last spring, which is very encouraging. If you take a look at, the middle of this month, almost exactly the same date almost, 2 years ago, we were at 1,446 students. Then the next year, we were almost the same, 1,444. By the end of last school year in May, we had dropped by 51 students to 1,393. At the beginning of this year, we started with 1,565. Now that's always artificially high. Sometimes it's double counted students, or students who just show up or say they're going to come, we count them. But we don't officially count them till October 1st or any time after that. As of October 10th, our official count is 1,510. So that actually ends up being 66 more students than last year at this time, and quite a few more students, 117 more than we were at last May. So when we have well over $20,000 per student, that's $2 million more that we brought in. So that's a good thing. I think a big part of it is that we are doing things where kids feel welcome and safe in school, and they're not going other places. In fact, I sat with some girls at lunch the other day, and I said to one girl, I don't know you, are you new? I said, yeah, I've been going to another school, but my friends told me to come here. So I did. And that's what I want to see, is more of that. When kids tell their friends, this is a good place, come back. You don't need to go to the other schools. So that's the good news. We're looking strong for enrollment, and we just now need to keep all those kids. I think we can. That is it for my reports.
Is that 2 million that's coming in, is that to impact aid?
That part is, it's a combination. Yeah, because it's all based on enrollment. But most of the impact aid is separate and is a separate account. It's mostly the general fund stuff that comes in and, idle monies that are also based on enrollment numbers. So that's a nice increase from what we were looking at last year. So I'm done with my reports, Chair.
And what did you say impact aid is, what percent, 40? Of the overall budget?
Yeah, it's been a couple
44.
meetings back, 40 something, yeah.
I think
44.
we get the highest amounts out
Yeah.
of all United States.
Yep, very high, yep.
Yeah.
Compared to others.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, consent agenda for October 16th, 2024. We'll need a motion on that.
And if we could add item number N as in no, and that particular item would be to accept the resignation of Jake, Jake, Richter, Richter, as DAPE teacher, DAPE at the elementary. Effective yesterday, actually.
As resignation
Richter.
is resigning.
Yes,
Okay.
thank you.
I'll move to approve.
Okay, a motion by Jordan,
I'll second it.
second by Pemberton. To approve consent agenda for October 16th, 2024 as presented and as amended. We pulled J, so we added N. Right?
Right.
Okay. Further discussion?
We amended J.
Yep, it was amended.
We amended what?
J.
Jay,
I thought we pulled it.
Now we're still hiring the boys baseball coach.
Oh.
So the amendment is we're removing,
Oh, boys baseball junior high coach. Oh, okay.
it's combined as one item, so we'll just
Okay.
amend it, take off the girls basketball coaching jobs.
Okay. Okay. I understand now. Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Need a closed session, approve bills and wares for the month of September 2024.
that's 2.7 million plus change. Submit that for a motion.
A motion to approve, Chairman
Okay.
Barry.
Okay, and a motion by Nicole,
I'll second,
second by
sir.
Chris. To approve the bills.
You got money. Pay your bills.
Further discussion on the bill? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Yeah, adopt policy 507.5, school resource officer.
And this is from the MSBA based on statutory language. It's third reading, so we take action on it today. And I really like this contract or this particular policy because it lays out specifically the contractual duties of an SRO and then also the certain requirements for training. Now, a lot of SROs in the past haven't necessarily had the training they need. This is training that really makes sure we keep our kids safe and healthy and connected. That's good.
I'll motion.
Okay, have a motion by second, second by who? Jack? Okay, there's Jack. To approve to adopt policy 507.5. Further discussion?
See, but, just real quick, I really like that we operate with procedures, it guides us, you know what I mean? So we're not out doing our own thing or.
Yeah.
I really like that I try to tell people that school board members, we can't just do what we want, we gotta,
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And you set up your whole team like that, it helps your team understand their roles are. I really like. We
Well,
operate.
how we include that in each packet.
Yeah, well, I mean, just, you know, we don't just kind of wing it, or we don't get to do whatever we want, you know what I mean? We operate we're bound by ethics, policies and procedures. It helps from the top down.
Keeps it consistent. Yep.
But I didn't know you have to take, fitness tests, is that what I heard? Superintendent? Yeah.
All right.
I bet I'm gonna drop and do 20.
Yeah, do some push-ups here.
Where's your cognitive
Yeah.
Well, you know,
Want to negotiate, we gotta see 20 of them.
when it gets 10,000 for every push.
There's a good negotiation.
My first interview for superintendent that I got hired, they said, towards the end, they said, we should ask you a math question. They said, cause you can deal with the budget. I said, yeah, okay. They said, what's 6 times 4? I was kind of nervous, so I said 27.
Oh, man.
And then the interview was over. I'm sitting in my car and I'm thinking, why did I say 27, 24? So then I thought, I'm not gonna get that job over in Kellier. Well, 2 days later, I got a call from the board chair and he said, we'd like to offer you the job. And I said, really? Even when I made that math problem mistake? I said 6 times 4 is 27. And he laughed and said, yeah, but we interviewed 5 superintendents candidates and of all 5, you were the closest.
Okay, any further discussion on the policy? If not, all in favor, say aye. Aye, opposed? I don't know. Okay, item 9C, that would be, action item here to enter into negotiations with him,
I'll start doing push-ups.
superintendent. Huh?
I'll start doing push-ups, I said.
And to it, for the 2-year contract, I mean, I think Tim's doing a good job. You know, personally, I think he's been doing a pretty good job, so. And otherwise, we would have to, if we don't do this, we'll have to go out looking and, you know.
All motion.
Well, I really like your point of view this year. Last year, you guys didn't want to do it.
Yeah, well, you know, a couple years and everything changed, you know.
I'm an acquired taste, right?
Yeah, I was pretty impressed, you know, I like how things are going, I'm not getting called, you know, anymore, and, I'm happy, you know, and so,
Yeah, people
you know,
can
I,
change their minds.
huh?
Oh, I said, people, we can change our
Yeah,
minds, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're going in a good direction, okay, so Tom,
And I'll second.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman.
got a motion by Tom, second by Nicole. We all change our minds, you know, we all think different.
That's right, Mike.
Yeah, to enter into negotiations with Tim Lute, superintendent for 25, 26, 27. It's a 2-year contract. Further discussion?
Keep up the good work, Tim.
And I mean, you know, like,
And I want to say, I really appreciate your presence at our local government, the tribal government, all you're there and you keep communication line open. Thank you for that.
Maybe in 3 years, I'll have a better grasp of the language.
Well, you've
Still
come
learning.
a long way than any other superintendent, so Chini Glitch, you know, appreciate that.
probably have better than I do, you know, probably do. Okay,
Hey, one more little thing. The kids like it, that's pretty rare, you know, in
Yeah.
my experience, the kids, there was never a connection.
Yeah. I think even your kid maybe a little bit, you know,
Yeah.
the handshake every time I see him.
Yeah, he likes school.
they're not afraid of you, you know.
They know who he is.
They, you know,
So nothing on his head's gonna hit.
Make it harder to do his boys.
Do you, sometimes like have an assembly and just talk to them and tell them how good a job they're all doing for that month or
The kid,
whatever?
you know, I haven't done an assembly, but I often will do that when I drop into a class or visit with the kids almost every lunchtime.
Mm,
And, try to tell them they're doing good or walk in the hallways and beginning of the day, end of the day. Say, hey, you're making a good day.
Well, he's on to have us in there every week, the whole student body.
I like
And
that idea.
also, you know, that was a long time
Well,
ago.
I say that
you know,
because-
times have changed, you know, but
Yeah, get a group together.
also his peer leadership initiative that he's taken on and how it affects our student body. That plays a great role. That mentor, that peer mentorship.
I think so.
Yeah, when I was in school, Flandreau, our superintendent, every Monday would talk to us about the weekend, talk to us about what's going on for the week and Those
Good idea.
people racist.
Looking into doing that. Maybe not the whole assembly, but be a grade at a time. so
Yeah.
More. Talk to the kids better that way. Be a little quieter.
Okay, okay, we have a motion by Tom, second by Nicole. Negotiations, okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 7-0.
7:00.
Okay,
Thank you.
okay,
Get our money back.
yeah.
Did we discuss this?
Yeah.
No. Or was there anything to discuss?
That's just an invitation.
$10,000.
Yeah.
How much?
10,000.
10,000.
Really? Damn.
No, that still stands. Whenever we do need them,
Oh,
then we use it.
Yep.
When MSBA helps us do superintendents. We learn all this stuff at training, guys.
Yeah, I had training for
No,
2 weeks
we
straight.
have MSBA training offered twice a year and we learn.
We had it in Zoom because we were on COVID for 2 years
Yeah.
straight. We never got to go down to the cities.
Right.
We had them call us from 8 to 5 constantly on our thing.
They're really attentive.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we had no choice. Become a school board member, you gotta know all this.
Yeah.
And I
Cool.
had staff wants all of us to come visit a class or just walk in the hallway or anytime during the day, they said.
Mm-hmm. Come and visit.
Just come check out the school with the staff and
Mhm.
kids. And
You know, I recently went to training and one of the things is, you know, we let the staff administration do their job and we set policy. You know, we're not supposed to be in there trying to intimidate people or we don't have no authority in that way, you know.
But they were inviting us, I just thought I'd let you guys know
Yeah.
that they invited us.
Come and have lunch, see what it's like.
I pop in and just go see my old teacher, then as a school board member, if there's anything they see or wanna just tell me, you know, I don't go in there like, hey, I think we should be doing this. I'm more
Yeah.
go hear all teachers and staff and faculty, hey, how's the year going? What are you seeing?
And they're
They
just
want me to be
ready
like,
to tell you about all the good things they're doing in the school with
Yeah.
kids.
Yep, I think they
That's
appreciate
way
it when you,
different.
when you notice and when you visit and show interest and I know they do. I hear that too from them. They're, "Oh, good to see you. Thanks for stopping by the classroom." When I do that.
Yeah, cause I get checked for not going, for not being here sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it from teachers. Yeah, you should walk through our school once in a while, you know,
Mhm.
and I mean, they're really angry about it too. There's some good email, you know. Okay. Football game time here. That all? Nothing miscellaneous?
The only thing I have is just this, reminder that you got this invitation to come and visit the kids in robotics. Not this Friday and Saturday, but the following Friday and Saturday at the high school. Over by the high school, basketball gym in that area, I believe. It's fun to see the kids do that, so I'm planning on going on Saturday. So you are invited. That's a good example again of, here's an invitation if you want to go. That's all I got. Thank you.
Okay, well, nothing else. We'll need a motion to adjourn.
I'll move.
Okay, that's good. Tina, second by Tina. All those in favor say aye. Aye, opposed.
Have a good day, folks.
2:37.
Holy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Longer and longer.
Better than 8 o'clock at night.